From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief creator of Amazing Ideas at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have Anthony Luti with me of Radiant Media, and we're going to talk about all about video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this. The SDM show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, the digital marketing concierge that helps you put all your marketing pieces together. We are your marketing experts. We are also your WordPress security experts and know how to lock down a website and protect yourself from bad actors. So contact us at Stunning Digital Marketing today. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. And today I'm here with my guest, Anthony Luti of Radiant Media. How are you, Anthony?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. We're going to talk about all about video today. Ironic on a podcast that's going to go out in video and partially audio. But I have to ask you, how'd you get into the video game, first of all?
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of a long story. It started, decades ago when me and my now business partner, we've been lifelong friends and we went to all the way back to preschool together, grew up together. And, it's the first videos we ever did was in the kind of late 2000s, early 2010s. We started doing little trick shot videos, playing basketball outside. We enjoyed that, posted that on YouTube, got a little bit into it that way. And as we grew up, we went to college. I went to Merrimack College, kind of focused on a marketing and business background. And my business partner, he started pursuing a career in video. He always stuck with it. And when I graduated college, I started just looking for work. I just worked at a deckhand at a marina just to make some extra money. And again, this is just graduating with a marketing degree. So I was looking, maybe some of the guys there that own boats, maybe they're looking to start a business. And that's exactly what happened. There was a guy there who was starting an axe throwing business. And he said to me, "Hey, I know you got a marketing degree. I'm thinking we're gonna be going after a younger demographic. I'm in my early 20s. You think you can do it?" I'm like, "Absolutely." And then I kind of had the idea in my head, let me call my buddy. He's still doing video. Maybe we can coordinate here. So I called him. He loved the idea. And we started with that axe throwing company in making content for them. And what we found happened was we ended up quadrupling his expected revenue for that inaugural season, which was incredible. And it gave us the proof we needed that we might have something here. And we haven't looked back. And so he's been the one that's really spearheaded the video. And I've worked in doing kind of the business operations and helping with the video as well. But couldn't do it without him.
No, I agree. It's a lot of work, actually. In terms of axe throwing, that's interesting. I think you and I were talking last week, and I said, I've just gone axe throwing for the
Yes,
first
you
time.
did. I do remember that. Yes.
Ironically, yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
I was throwing a lot of axes at that point. We started getting good. We started doing tricks. I had a good one where I could like underhand it. And I could get a bullseye. We got good.
so the cool thing about video, and let's just kind of break it down even from personal standpoint, used to be back, 30 years ago, we all had handy cams for home, right? We all
Mhm.
bought those cams. And at one time, you actually plugged a VHS tape into one. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
ever seen one of those.
I did.
And then
Yeah.
and then they went to smaller tape. Then they went digital. So you can still buy a video camera, but now that most of them are on SD cards or high-speed compact flash cards typically. And now the biggest video device that a lot of people use for personal is the one I'm holding in my
Yep.
hand.
Oh
This
yeah.
guy.
Oh yeah.
And the video cameras on some of these phones, particularly the iPhone, the Samsung phones, and the Pixel phones. That's a brand new Pixel 9 you're looking
Hmm.
at. they're actually pretty good, and
Oh yeah.
even for business to do some quick stuff. What do you think about that in the evolution?
It's huge. It's huge, and that's more UGC based content. I got my phone right here myself. This is the Galaxy S22, which is known for a phenomenal camera. So
Yep,
every now and then, if we use phone video, we'll use my camera. And again, it's easy, it's convenient, and everybody's going to use it, especially when you're starting a business and your budget's low. A great idea is to get the phone out, shoot some content. Even, some lifestyle based content is great. If you kind of record, you see these people, they do a day in the life sort of stuff. That's
yep,
awesome for UGC type content. People want to follow the life of somebody that's starting a business. They want to be a part of it for the ride. They want to say they knew you then, and
yep.
so it's great for that sort of thing. I recommend it. And even we use it for a variety of different things, just to get quick content out there. It's pivotal because consistency is what's the most important, and there's nothing wrong with mixing in some UGC based content for that.
No, no question. Consistency matters. What I would say is if you're going to shoot off your smartphone,
Yeah.
do yourself a favor. Go out and get a tripod. Go out
Yep.
and get
A ring light, something
a
like
ring
that.
light. Go out and get a smartphone mount so you can mount it to the tripod because that will stabilize it. And
Yep.
if you want to move around, go spend the 50 or $100 and buy one of these smartphone gimbals, which will let you
Yeah.
stabilize as you move it around. What do you think about that?
I think those are great. A mentor of mine that I work with. I was just in his studio a couple weeks ago, and he's got all those things just for phone-based content. If you're gonna do it, you might as well take the extra step, maximize it. Get the best quality you can with the phone if that's what you're looking to do. Yeah, you get the gimbal, get the ring light, get the stand, and go for it. Especially if you're on your own and you want somebody, and you don't have somebody there to hold the phone. That you want to get a tripod, hang it up, and sometimes it's best not even to go in with an idea. Just go in and just let it unfold. Organic is the best.
Yep. And I would suggest if you're going to do any talking, I would go so far as to get a couple inexpensive lavalier mics for your smartphone too, because you'll get better
Yeah, yeah.
audio with
Clip-on
that.
mics, those are
Yeah.
great.
And here's the thing. What most people forget is
You
the
see them in the
audio.
TikTok shop.
Yep. The audio is even more important
Yeah,
than the video in the video.
and I would say, yeah, and that if everybody's shooting UGC content, um, obviously, the quality is going to be very similar. A good way to probably catch somebody's attention immediately would be audio because most audios, if you're using phone, are going to sound very similar. But if you have a clear, clean mic that you can clip on
Yep.
and use that instead, that's going to probably get people's attention because it's not going to be, you're not separating yourself based on quality at that point. So that'd be a good alternative.
Yeah, it really is. Um, Editing tools. We'll jump there and then we'll
Sure,
get
yeah.
into some pro stuff. I personally, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't like to edit video on my tablet or my phone. Now
No,
I
no, you
know
can't.
a lot of pros who do photo shoots are starting to edit on the iPads right on site. And the reason they do that is they have the models, they have the set,
Yeah.
and if they have to do a retake, everybody's right there. So I get that side of it.
hmm
But I still think video editing tools on a phone or an iPad aren't there yet. What do
Well,
you?
I'll tell you what. If you're gonna do photos that you might, I don't have as much experience in that, so I can't as much speak for that. But I would imagine that that's gonna be easier to do on a phone or a tablet. But when it comes to video, you need to make cuts precise to the millisecond, and that can be really difficult without, using a laptop and a mouse. And on top of that, the type of if it's UGC, I guess that's a little bit different. But when we're editing, we have to take color grading into account, white balance, things of that nature. And that's just not quite there yet to do on a tablet or a phone. Maybe in the future. Not to, I mean, especially with AI, AI is probably going to be able to do a lot of that stuff pretty soon.
Yep.
There is a platform available now. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I was actually researching it recently, where there's an AI that'll do color balancing.
Mm,
But I can't imagine it's quite there yet. It would save us a lot of time if it was, I'll tell you that.
me too. Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
Um, does it really matter anymore if you use a Mac or a PC to edit?
Does it matter if what?
Use a Mac or a PC to edit? Like, does the
So
operating
I'll
system?
tell you,
Yeah.
my business partner uses a Mac, and he
Okay.
swears by it. He does. He swears by it. He thinks the UI is a little bit more friendly.
Hmm.
When I edit, I use a PC, but you know, he's doing some of the more advanced cuts. You know, when we're editing 4K, we do use on his Mac, and so I'm going to defer to him. I know he knows. You know, if he says that's what's best. I'm going to take his word for it because,
Yeah,
you know, he's a little bit more seasoned with that. And we also, you know, we do hire out editing as well, and I know the majority of them they lean Mac.
yeah. I would say I do mine on a PC. I'm a
Do
Windows
you? Yeah,
guy,
me too.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
me too.
And I would say my tool of choice for video editing lately has been DaVinci Resolve. What a shot!
DaVinci's great. Yeah, DaVinci's got it's better for color grading.
Yep. And I was at a presentation about 3 years ago, and I was using everything else under the sun.
Yeah.
And I sat down with the guy who did the presentation was one of Sportsnet's. Here goes the sports connotation again.
Yeah.
But just turn this into the video sports show, but that's okay. One of their top video guys did this presentation, and he said, "Do yourselves a favor, even if you're doing it pro wise, don't go and buy DaVinci because 99% of the stuff you're going to use is in the free version.
Yeah.
They pack more into their free version than any other product I've ever seen personally."
Yeah, and it's a little bit so I'll tell you we're working on a 90-minute feature film right now
Yep,
because in addition to the which I'm sure we'll get into, but in addition to the commercial content we do cinematic, uh, film content, and
yep,
we have a colorist, and she swears by DaVinci Resolve. It's just I just think the coloring is a little bit
yep,
cleaner through it, but for the majority of our work, we use Premiere Pro. But when it
sure.
comes to the cinematic stuff, we'll go with DaVinci.
Yeah, you're on a Mac. I'm not surprised you're using Premiere, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's jump into types of content. So there's all kinds of content. We see the short videos on TikTok,
Yep.
and at the time of this record, TikTok is still available in Canada.
Yeah.
Yes. I use that word. We don't know what's going on there, and I'm not going to turn this into a political show. I
Sure,
refuse.
sure. Yep.
So there's that. There's Instagram Reels.
Yep.
There's some quick content on Facebook, and then there's long content. Uh, what do you prefer and why?
Short form is what we prefer and what we recommend the most. Short form, you know, you have to think about it from a psychological standpoint, right? You look at the basic, you know, human attention span. It's not very long. And the way I look at it is almost like these 5 second windows. So it's like, okay, you've got your first 5 seconds. It has to count. And then, okay, how do we hold them for the next 5 seconds and the next 5 seconds and so
Yeah,
on? There has to be something in those slots that hold attention, something of substance that's going to make people last another 5 seconds. Because
yeah,
in a scrolling world where everybody's just boom, 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 I want to know what the video under this one is, and the next one, and the next one, and it turns into this addiction. You need to convince them subconsciously why they need to keep watching what you have here. So the long form is, I would say, more for websites. And you know, there, you of course you have YouTubers and
yeah,
pages where they're gonna post long form video, but what you see in people do is they'll take clips of those long form videos and use them as short form. You can still use the long form. It's essentially you're like proving to them why they should watch the long form video. You always got to go back to proof because that's essentially what you're doing is you're proving to them why should I give you 5 more seconds of my time. And
yeah.
so uh for that reason, I say short is better because, you know, you hold on to them a little bit. They don't see 8 minutes and go, oh geez, scroll, 30 seconds. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. What I would say too is if you are doing long form video for your website,
Yeah.
folks, please don't host those videos on your website.
No. Yep.
Use either
Like
YouTube
Vimeo or like
or
or
Vimeo
yep,
or something,
Vimeo's a big one.
and
YouTube
then
or
embed them into
mm-hmm.
your website.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because that's going to slow down your website. It's terrible for SEO.
Yep.
And it's just there's just no reason to handicap your site to keep you from getting those organic results.
Yep. And then the other thing I would say is, folks, and I have this battle with my family all the time. If you want to share videos with friends and family, learn how to use Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive.
Yeah.
Choose your cloud storage of choice and
hmm
send a link. And please send a link to the
hmm
video. Stop trying to email videos because most email providers don't send an attachment over 25 megabytes.
Yeah, and usually it'll just automatically come in as a drive if it's bigger than that through
Yep.
Gmail, right?
Yep. So please stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like it's just people are so in the email wasn't designed to move around big video files.
hmm
So, and we know storage is cheap, right? So use it.
Right.
That's
Right.
all.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I started in this business, in the on the tech side, we were paying $600 for a 420 megabyte hard drive. I'm not
How
even
long ago was
talking.
that?
That was 25 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, it's for that's gonna get you that'll get you a week. You know.
Yeah, and that will also get that
Not
price
even,
will
what am I talking about? Not even what that'll get you 5 minutes.
yeah, and that price will almost get you halfway to a new laptop too,
Yeah, right. Seriously, huh?
It's just dramatic. Okay, so we talked a little bit about that. Lighting, guys. Lighting's important in video.
hmm
And if you can't do lighting, you got to figure out what's a good time to do natural lighting, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Natural lighting can be huge. Sometimes, depending on what the shoot is, we'll go down and we'll actually check out the place ahead of time to be like, okay, where depending on what we know we're shooting, we want to know
Yep.
where we can get the best shot. We have this is where my business partner's really his profession shines is he knows all the perfect stuff to get us lighting wise. We've got different lights for different
Yep.
settings, different scenes.
Yeah.
The one we typically use is this giant it's like an umbrella light, if you
Yep.
will. And sometimes, we'll bounce it to get that right shine, or maybe we just use a regular like a backlight, depending on what it is. But it's like the most important thing when we're setting up a shoot is what the lighting looks like, because ultimately that's going to affect the color later on.
Yeah. And it changes depending on the time of day you're doing the shoot.
Yep.
And it
Oh yeah.
depends. And if you're shooting outside, it even more changes depending on if it's sunny or cloudy. And we've
Yep.
all seen the atmosphere change on us in the middle of a shoot. And then it's like, where did that come from?
It's funny. Lighting is one of those things that I'll be shooting and my business
Yeah.
partner will be there. And this is where it's a real credit to his profession, because he'll see things that I just don't see. He just
Yep.
again he'll just see things that I do not see. I'll look at the frame and be like, it looks fine. But he's like, no, 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 no. It's not bright enough, or there's a glare. I'm like, what glare? What are you talking? But that's a credit to working with people that just go above and beyond to really
Yep.
make sure every detail is perfect. It's good you go in not to have an ego, and really, everybody else, or well, who you're working with, make sure you're working with somebody that's just a straight pro.
Yeah. The other thing too with video is if you're storing video, be careful of the file sizes because they get big.
hmm
And I say that I had a guy that was doing a charitable event. I won't mention which one, and he insisted he wanted everything in 4K.
You're gonna
And
need a
I and
couple. You're gonna
yeah,
need a lot of storage.
And the first thing I said to him is, and he wanted them uploaded to a Dropbox account.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem for
Yeah.
me. And I said to him, before we go here, we had a professional video guy shoot the video and then we spliced it up. I spliced it up
Hmm.
and put some headers and some trailers on and that kind of stuff. And I said, are you sure you're prepared to deal with the file sizes of the 4K? And you're going to throw these on YouTube. And the average YouTube person doesn't want to see more than 1080 anyway, because they
Yeah.
probably don't have the bandwidth.
You can't
Let's
run it.
let's
Yeah. Yeah.
go. And he was like, yeah, I want it 4K. And then when I uploaded it, all I got was an email saying, what the, and I won't fill in the
Yeah.
words, is with these file sizes. And I said, well, you asked for 4K video, you got
You got
4K video.
4K video, right? Right. We
So,
we one time shot an orchestra and it was like 3 hours.
uh-oh.
And yeah, right. And the guy wanted it in 4K and I just was like, listen, I highly recommend we do this in 1080.
Yeah, of course you
It's
did
going
it.
to be a gigantic file. And also, not to mention, I was worried about our storage. We'd run out of storage after an
Yeah,
hour and a half or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
And I said, like, anywhere you post this, you're gonna post it in 1080 anyway. So I
yeah.
promise you, 1080 will look fantastic. And we shot it in 1080 and he was very happy with it. So everything worked out.
That said, though, I always say, because we all know the Instagram and the square formats
Hmm.
are different than the widescreen formats, right?
Yep.
I always say shoot it in to some degree, and I think 1080 is good enough,
Hmm.
but shoot it in the high res possible. And if you have to downgrade it in editing, downgrade it and change your formats in editing. Don't do it when you do the shoot. How's
Yeah.
your philosophy, you guys, around that?
I mean, we've compressed. I mean, yeah, it's shooting in 4K is we try the best we can. Like for example,
Yep,
if we're shooting like a 30-second ad, we're going to shoot it in 4K.
yep.
There's been times that we've compressed them, but again, we have editors that we trust to handle all that kind of stuff. And again, my business partner and people that are gonna it's not gonna sacrifice the quality, if you will.
Yep. Yep. But the problem is, we all know if you shoot video in a lower format and you try and upscale, you're gonna have the same problem you're gonna have with photos.
Yeah,
Pixelation,
yeah,
it's
you
not
can't
gonna work.
that you can't do. You can the
You
other way
can't do.
around.
Yeah, that's why I always say shoot in whatever you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
figure and then downgrade if you have to after.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. No, I completely agree.
That's a hard lesson. Been there, done that. Did it once, did it twice, and said never again.
Yeah, you never want to be on the wrong side of that.
No, no. Okay. Professionally, what type of camera equipment does your firm use when you shoot?
We use the Sony FX3 for the most part.
Good camera.
That's our go-to. With good ND filter and different lenses, and when usually different lenses call for different sort of settings, and we'll
Yeah.
again, I defer to my business partner for all that different kind of stuff. I know he's a pro with all that, and the FX3 is it's gotten us to this point, and it's been great. I
I
haven't
would
haven't
say
had any complaints.
it's funny because in the camera space, it was Canon and it was Nikon for the longest time, even in
Hmm.
video camera. And then Sony jumped in, and everybody said, "What?" And and
Yeah,
I'll tell you, even for non-video, Sony makes some of the best mirrorless cameras out there on the market. I have one, and I must admit, I don't always carry it because it's heavy.
it's a lot. Yeah, and there's so much that goes into it.
Yep,
And it's a lot to learn, and so it's important that if you're unsure, to have somebody there that knows what they're doing. I remember there was one time we did a shoot, and my business partner, again, who is the one that quarterbacks these shoots, and he knows everything about these cameras. He couldn't be there, and we had a someone who was a DP on one of our other shoots who we were confident in spearheading it, and he had another Sony camera we brought out. We put them both together, and it was what and he did a phenomenal job, saved the day.
Yeah.
And again, it's so important to have a system of people that know their way around. Don't try to don't if you're unsure, don't find somebody that knows. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is too is if you're unsure about how to use your equipment, what I always say to people is take that phone, even the phone,
Yeah.
and go out and shoot mindless garbage for a day. Find something. Go shoot. The more you shoot, the better you become.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm an avid photographer. My partner will tell you we'll go away for a day and I'll shoot 200 pictures on a day. Now I might keep 50, but
Yeah.
maybe, but I'll shoot 200 pictures. I'll shoot 30 videos and then I won't keep them all. But the point is, the more you shoot, the better you become. Practice does make perfect. So,
Absolutely.
what I would say, challenge you, anybody watching this and say, you want to learn about video? Go downtown in your city. You're from Boston. Boston's historical rich. I'm in Toronto. Toronto's historical rich. And go shoot. Just
Yeah.
walk the streets and shoot. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's interesting how good you'll become. And then once you become shooting, then try and frame your shots a little better because we all know one of the hardest things to frame is horizons when you're shooting.
Yeah. And when I'll tell you when we started, um, and like nowadays, sometimes, we'll show a lot of our work. Of course, people are
Yeah.
going to want to know, yeah, what have you done? And it's like the standards have changed on like what
Oh
we
yeah.
want to show people. Because like I remember at one point we're like, oh, this is great, and now it's like I look back, I'm like, it was all right, and it's like I got better stuff to show them now, and it's like one of the things where we've um evolved a lot, if you will, is one of the things we'll shoot is courses for people.
Yep.
And there's lots of different kinds of courses. And the first course we shot was for a adult beverage marketing company. There was a lot to it, but they were the point was it was a course about how to launch an adult beverage company, and we shot it and we did it for so much less than we should have because we didn't know the work
Yes.
that would go into it, and it was oh my Lord, it was so much work. The editing was months of editing, and
Yeah.
but the point is we had no idea what we were in for at that point. And but since then we've been able to fine tune those kind of things. We know we know the work that goes into it, but the
Yeah.
quality shows, our
I'm
quality's improved drastically with courses.
I'm smiling at you as you tell that story about the work because I think where most people get hung up on content creation, whether it's video, whether it's audio, whether it's a podcast like this one, is they don't understand how much work they think, oh, you just shot a 30-minute video, so that's all it takes. Well, I can
Yeah.
almost guarantee you a 30-minute video, you might as well times it by five or times it by 10 by the time you're
Oh
done,
yeah.
just based
Yeah.
on experience. And I'm being rough,
Yep.
but you
Yeah.
get what
Yeah.
I'm
And
saying, right?
yeah, and you can tell like there's different types of products we
Yep.
will shoot. One of which that we charge significantly less for is if somebody wants us to, I call them fly on the wall shoots. It's say you're an entrepreneur or whoever and you want somebody to come in and shoot your call or shoot a meeting.
Yeah.
That's a lot less work for us than if there was lines and take one, take two,
Hmm.
because it's one shot all the way through, and then and we know there's not going to be a lot of editing that goes into that. But if it's something where it's scripted
Yep.
and you're going to have multiple angles, but yet it's the same length, we're going to have there's so much more work that goes into that. There was a one other thing on courses. This happened kind of recently. There was somebody that called us that wanted a course done, and I'm like, okay, here's I gave him a quote for it, one and then next thing you know, sends me a message. Okay, sounds great, and a day or two later was like, oh, I don't know, somebody else agreed to do it for this price, and it was a fraction of what I quoted her, but it was so low that I looked at it and I'm like, they're either doing it with a Polaroid camera or they just do not know
Yeah.
the extensive work that's going to
Yeah.
go into this. They're thinking about it. Oh, a few hours shoot. Okay. That's going to be way more than a few hours once you get down to it and the revisions and things like that. People just don't know.
Yeah.
People just don't know, you know?
No, they don't, and they don't
Yeah.
realize. Like, I'll share with you, we're recording on Zoom, we're recording video, but typically this podcast, somebody says, "Oh, it's an hour podcast. That's an hour." And I said, "No, it's about 8 hours."
Yeah.
And they look at me and they say, and I don't do hard video edits. I
Hmm.
do what we call in the business, and I've shared this with you, is record the tape. And for
Yeah.
those who don't know, it means whatever gets said ends up in the final product,
Yeah.
but there's still work behind the scenes that has to get done. And people say it can't take 8 hours. And I kind of look at them and say,
Yeah.
and that's
So,
after I've been doing this for 4 years or
yeah.
5 years, not year one out of the gate. You can add 5 more hours to it.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. No, it's right. And,
people don't understand.
no, no. And so, it's, you have to protect yourself, someone that comes in and, I see it, people charge, I see it all the time, actually. I'll have conversations and somebody will come in and they'll charge a significantly lower number. And back in the day, earlier on, I used to try to do the best I could to not match it, but try to get the business. And
Yeah.
nowadays, I'm just like it's not. It's I can't be slaving for hours because trying to compete with somebody that doesn't know what they're in for,
Yeah.
essentially. And so
Yeah.
it's important to protect yourself, protect your product, and not undervalue yourself. You know
And,
your
and
value. And
show, and show your customers why you're different and better. And there's a really good book for anybody watching this. I've touted this on the show and with my clients enough, called The Inside Advantage by a
yeah,
guy by the name of Robert Bloom. It was written in 2009. Or 2008. It's still relevant today more than ever. What he says is, don't fight the race on the price because you'll be to
yeah,
the bottom. Show why you're different. Show why you're better. Show why
yeah,
your business does more,
yeah.
and build that in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for ourselves, for my business, it's definitely quality.
Yeah.
Quality, experience, attention to detail. We want to get this as close to perfection as we possibly can. And depending on what the client is, we work with so many different industries, and it's always a tough thing when I have connection meetings. People say, "Oh, well, who do you serve? Who do you work for?" And it's tough because we work in so many different industries, and it's essentially because we're able to offer a lot of different things because of different backgrounds. Myself, I have a background in marketing. My business partner has a background in marketing and an extensive background in video. And we've been able to implement different strategies. I'll just give you an example. We work a lot in the e-com sphere. And the reason that we work a lot in the e-com sphere is because we have a unique offer to e-commerce clients in a sense that we're able to help them partner with influencers. We've built a strategy where we can help, where we're able to, on a very successful percentage, partner with these influencers that don't have 6, 7, 8 million followers, but they've got 40, 50, 60,000 followers. These are the influencers that have the engaged audiences. They're actively trying to grow, and they're going to respond to your email. Even if you have 100, 200,000 followers, every time you partner with one of these influencers, it's going to raise your floor, raise your floor, raise your floor. Every time you're going to get that organic jolt. Well, not organic, but you know what I mean. You're going to get that quick jolt. And again, they're going to endorse your product. It's going to raise the floor of your audience. And so, oh, I think you're muted. I can't hear you.
And people get,
There you are.
sorry,
There you are.
and people get that partnering with influencers does work. I mean,
Right.
the micro influencers, I've had companies come to me because I have a 25K X following and say, "Can we send you product?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
usually all they'll ask for is an unboxing video of the product. They'll
oh
say,
yeah,
"We'll send you a product." I've had shoe companies send me running shoes. I've got 3 pairs in the other
that's
room.
awesome.
Had one of my favorite ones was a number of years ago, Tassimo. You know who they are, the coffee, they're
Yeah.
like Keurig, they're in that single cup coffee game. They
Yeah.
sent they not only sent me one machine, they sent two other family members machines because I agreed to do an unboxing video.
That's awesome. That's great. And I'll tell you, on top of that and how we help partner with influencers is they model for us in our
Yep,
shoots.
of
We
course.
shoot with them, the product comes in, they model with us. They then co-post that content, which is in our quality, it's in high production.
Yep.
And it's a process that we rinse and repeat. And we've seen it work on a long-term scale with a variety of different clients we've worked with. And so it's something that we're able to offer to you know a whole bunch of different e-com companies. And so, what was I going to say? I was going to say that is, added value that separates us from any other company that does video. So we're able to kind of tap into the marketing sphere a little bit more.
And I would say the secret sauce to that was the rinse and repeat part.
Right.
Once you find a process that works for your business and works well, use it, do it again
Right.
and again and again.
Right. Right. And you tap into different themes. Whatever's coming around the corner. We just had Valentine's Day. We're going to have in another month St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And you make them you make them fun a lot of the time. Entertaining is great. I'll tell you, one of my favorite marketing companies or marketing approaches, if you will, is if you look up Dr. Squatch. I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Squatch
I
or
have.
True Classic or one of these companies. Their marketing is brilliant. I think they're on the cutting edge. I think they're the best marketing team around. They entertain you, and as collateral, they're anticipating that you will also buy their product
Yep.
because you're going to follow them because you're going to go, these guys are cool, they're funny, they're entertaining. The second, because they take something boring. You have True Classic t-shirts. You have Dr. Squatch, bars of soap, whatever, right? Like, but they find a way they entertain it. They go, yeah, we know our product's boring, whatever, but we're going to entertain you so much that you can't not think of us when you see a boring bar of soap or a t-shirt and you have to buy it. And that's what they do. And you've seen, because I've been following specifically Dr. Squatch since they were since they had a significantly smaller following, and I've watched as their production value's gone up, what they're able to do. Now they now they have Sydney Sweeney in their ads. They dress her up as a genie, and they call her like the body wash genie. It's silly, but it's entertaining and it's funny. And again, I can't not think of them if I'm looking to go get soap or something like
Yeah.
that, you know?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Um, so you guys also, your firm also does feature films. You mentioned you're working on
Yes.
90-minute one.
Yes.
Doesn't have different challenges than doing
Significantly. Yeah.
significant, such as,
Significantly different challenges. And I'll tell you, it's the largest productions that we do. So we're working on a feature film by the name of Viewpoint right now. You can see the trailer on our website at radiantmediavideo.com. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see our short film Spirit, which we went out to New Mexico to do, and then you'll see the trailer for Viewpoint. So Viewpoint, unlike Viewpoint, Spirit took place in one location, which was New Mexico. We flew people out from as far as Australia and all different states, because you have people auditioning. The scripts are longer. That you have to have a larger crew, more audio guys, more DPs, just a lot of different factors that go into it. There's more schedules you have to take into account. You have to feed more people. You have to lodge more people, and so that part of it it's just a normal set like times 10. And then when you talk about Viewpoint, because it's a 90-minute feature, it's in multiple locations. We had a location on Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. We're in the Salt Flats in Utah, and also some different housing settings. We tried to shoot out of a supermarket in their off hours. Just
yeah,
it's just, but the scripts are way longer. And then, oh, by the way, now after you do the feature, how do we make it profitable? And that's the next step that where we're going to get to that we've yet to get to. We need to find an agent that understands the lingo. We need to we need and that's actually another thing when you're doing these features and short films and whatnot. Some of these actors have agents. They have talent agencies, and you have
yeah,
to communicate with them. And so um, the time is so much more drastic. And again, we actually, the way we even started doing these is it was a passion project of my business partner. You know, his whole dream was he wanted to be a film director. And so when him and I came together and we started doing this, we understood that the short-term retainer revenue was in the commercials. In the commercial content, people want social media content on a recurring basis. And so that was where the faster revenue was. But, you know, the intention all along was that we would eventually build these films to do the same thing on a longer term, on a longer scale. And so we've
Yeah,
been working hard on that. He's been incredible working so hard on that. And we've been able to focus individually on each aspect as he's really taken more of a role with the film side and I've taken more of a role with the commercial side. It's allowed us to kind of grow these parallel to each other, if you will. And so it's been quite a ride. And you know, we're only a handful of years in, we're still going.
that's so cool. Um, Kind of to summarize that for some entrepreneurs out there, if you're going to do video, what are your 5 quick tips for somebody that says,
Sure.
I'm not ready to employ somebody like Radiant
Mhm.
Media, but I want to shoot some myself? Give me five
So,
quick
just to clarify, so this is somebody that they're not making a video company, they're just want to do video for their company.
for the company.
Absolutely. So, yeah, if you're on a tight budget and you're trying to do video, the most important thing I would say is just find a way to be consistent. It doesn't have to be high production at the moment. You just want to get yourself out there for people to see. You know, you just want to get in the door of you want to get into the mind of your client of your target demographic. So number one is going to be consistency. You want to be consistent. Number two, I would say have a theme, have an idea, have something that, you know, what are people going to be interested by, or even maybe not even because you might actually that could be a cause for overthinking. Actually, no, we're going to change that. Don't overthink. Instead of that, don't overthink. Um, Go in, shoot a day in the life. Those a lot of people do that. Day in the life of an entrepreneur, day in the life of whether you're a bank teller, an accountant, whatever.
Yes.
Um, you know, shoot, document, vlog your day. And again, you know, if you shoot those long form kind of things, say you shoot throughout the day, you can break those up and that can be multiple videos through the month. So I would also say another one, I know I kind of already mentioned it, but yeah, you know, it's not a bad idea to have themes to kind of go in and say, okay, what's coming up? How can I build? How can I take this whatever again, whatever, say you work at a bank. I don't know. Say how do I tie that into a theme? Valentine's Day, St. Patty's Day, whatever. Find a way to tie it into a theme. Be creative. We'll call that number four. Be creative, separate yourself from everybody else. You can take these jobs that maybe other people don't think are flashy. Like I had a meeting with a guy last week, and he was a loan officer, and he's like, who cares? Like there's nothing exciting. Like how we're boring. How can we be exciting? You know, um, but again, you know, the themes are huge. Find a way to separate yourself. And what would a good last one be? I would say don't overthink it. Like I already said, don't overthink it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll do, but seriously, I mean that one's really huge because I know so many people that just overthink every little thing they do. They doubt themselves. They don't want to they don't want to post what they've created because again, it looks boring or it doesn't separate. But number one is always to be consistent. And so if you can build up a consistency even if you think it is a little boring, don't let that stop you because hesitation isn't going to get you anywhere.
That's true. Hey, Anthony, really appreciate the conversation. Somebody wants to get a hold of you, your business partner. How's the best way?
Yeah, the best way to reach out to us would be to go to radiantmediavideo.com. You go to radiantmediavideo.com, you'll see my phone number there. You can give me a call. You can fill out a form at the bottom of the screen. And you know, we pride ourselves on getting back as quickly as possible. So if you submit a form there or you email me at ajluti@radiantmediavideo.com, I'll get back to you right away.
Thanks, Anthony. Have yourself an amazing day, my friend. Be well.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well. You have a great rest of your day.
This podcast has been brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital marketing concierge to help the business owner put all his pieces together, whether it's email marketing, WordPress security, WordPress design and development, PPC, and more. text Stunning Digital Marketing for all your digital marketing needs today. A very special thank you to Anthony for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.